You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife, headed in different directions. Camilla Tominay of The Telegraph writes, the Sussexes are frazzled, fraught and lacking romance, like any couple with young kids. 5 years after their wedding, the omens are bad, as Harry and Harry's wife seem to be heading in different directions. It would appear that Camilla Tominay believes that this is a consequence of being married for 5 years and having 2 small children. It, of course, demonstrates that she clearly doesn't understand the dynamic that occurs when a narcissist gets hold of the intimate partner primary source. Let's dive in and see what she has to write about these circumstances and what she sees as is causing them to head in different directions and whether that's accurate. It is hard to believe that 5 years ago today, Prince Harry and Harry's wife rode through the streets of Windsor in an Ascot Landau carriage, cheered by adoring crowds, positive fuel for Harry's wife, on their wedding. At the time, household staff weren't entirely confident the relationship would go the distance. No one could see it lasting longer than 3 years, according to one insider. Yet, as the couple celebrate their wood anniversary, Harry and Harry's wife have proven their doubters wrong. Well, they might have proven the doubters as to the length of the relationship wrong, but they haven't proved me wrong in terms of how the relationship has panned out and certainly where it's going to go to next. While their relationships with their own families might not be what they once were, that's an understatement, the marriage appears to be going strong. No, it's not, despite the couple's outwardly diverging priorities. The Duchess once described them as moving together like salt and pepper, sense of ownership. Harry is an extension of her, but they seem to be heading in opposite directions. Harry's wife looking forward, while Harry dwells on the past. The extraordinary events of this week, with the couple claiming they had been involved in a near-catastrophic car chase at the hands of a ring of highly aggressive paparazzi in New York, seem to expose a chasm between her desire for fame and Harry's quest for privacy. Amid much talk of a renaissance, Harry's wife, 41, initially appeared to bathe in the flashbulbs as she made her first public official appearance since the coronation. Of course she would do. It's all delicious fuel for her. Dressed in a £1,500 gold Joanna Ortzit dress, £1,000 Tom Ford stilettos, and a matching £900 Carolina Herrera bag, as she collected her award, she told those present, "You can be the visionary of your own life," fridge magnet platitude. The couple say that after the event, they were subjected to a 2-hour relentless pursuit by a gang of at least 6 paparazzi. New York City authorities have stated that although photographers made their journey challenging, there were no reported collision summonses, injuries or arrests. In pictures of the couple leaving the event, Harry's discomfort was etched on his face as he used his phone to film the action from the back seat. As I've explained before, Harry's response will have been genuine to what was going on. The Duke is already trying to reform the British press in his late mother's memory, describing it as his life's work. In an interview with ITV's Tom Bradby in January, he is currently waging 4 separate legal battles against 3 different newspaper groups over illegal information gathering, phone hacking, and a story he claims to be libelous. He is also suing the Home Office over the removal of his taxpayer-funded security and the Metropolitan Police's refusal to allow him to pay for close personal protection while in the United Kingdom. The events of this week raise questions over whether the couple will extend their campaign for privacy to the United States. They may wish to team up with other high-profile figures such as the Clooneys, who attended their London wedding 5 years ago. George Clooney, whose wife Amal is a human rights lawyer, has spoken about the issue before, writing an open letter after photos of their daughter were published online. However, questions have been raised over how such a campaign sits with the Duchess's plans to build her global enterprise. Harry's wife signed with leading global talent agency WME in April, amid talk of more content creation, a Dior clothing deal, and the revamp of a defunct lifestyle blog, The Tig. Given this potential conflict, it is little wonder, then, that the couple have cut quite separate figures lately, with Harry travelling alone to the coronation on May 6th, leaving Harry's wife in Monte Shitshow with their 2 children, Archie, who turned 4 that day, and Lilibet, who turns 2 next month. The last time the Sussexes were photographed together in public was at a basketball game in Los Angeles last month, when they missed the opportunity to smooch on the kiss cam, public devaluation, see parts passim, that pans in on couples in the stands. Some took the normally tactile couple's reluctance as a sign all may not be well between them, after Harry's wife's absence from Harry's promotional book tour fueled split rumours. Such is their independence from each other that the owner of a leading hotel chain in Monte Shitshow recently told the Daily Telegraph that they have a room set aside for Harry where he occasionally stays on his own. The Duke has also been known to stay at the uber-exclusive San Vicente bungalows when visiting Los Angeles, which is a 2-hour drive from the couple's £11 million mansion. That seems to be his escape place, said a source of the super-secretive and selective members club in West Hollywood, which, unlike the Soho House chain, also frequented by the Sussexes, bans journalists from joining. A refuge from the rigours of parenting 2 children under 4, Harry has apparently stayed there after attending Barry's boot camp, a high-octane cardio fitness class at the nearby Beverly Center. One friend described the couple as, like any parents of young kids, frazzled. They added, they are really happy together and live this idyllic life in Monte Shitshow, which is essentially a giant gated community of multimillionaires. But at the end of the day, they've been through a lot, and I think they've both felt quite ground down by it all. They're like any married couple 5 years in. No, they are not. Harry escapes to this bolt hole either as a consequence of being told to get out as part of his sustained devaluation, or he simply flees there because he's been ground down by her manipulative behaviours and she's giving him a silent treatment, so he decides that he will just go and put himself somewhere else until she's come round again. He'll be well used, because she's a narcissist, although he doesn't know this, to repeated temper tantrums, ignitions of heated fury, and demonstrations of silent treatments, cold fury. A mid-range narcissist will use a mixture of 2, although leans more towards cold fury. Accordingly, he has begun to learn that in the circumstances it's pointless asking her what's wrong, asking her to talk to him, to try and sort it out. It just invites either further insulting behaviours, arguments, or she continues to ignore him. And therefore he has learned that the appropriate thing to do is just get out for a period of time and be on his own. And that allows her to apparently calm down. What it does do is means that he disappears off the radar, so that he's not repeatedly threatening her control, and then as a consequence of other matters, he's reset to being painted white, and he's welcomed back when he returns. Again, those that do not understand the dynamic that takes place between a narcissist and a victim will just think this is a consequence of a chap wanting a bit of quiet time because he's got 2 toddlers. It isn't. This is common for certain individuals who are victims of narcissists to go and escape in this way. Not everybody can because they lack the resource to do so. He doesn't. The article continues by explaining that as a Californian born and bred, Harry's wife appears more settled than Harry, who, by his own admission, still feels torn by his British ties. As he wrote in his book, I love my mother country and I love my family and I always will. Although he's recently spoken of embracing the Santa Barbara lifestyle, it's no secret that the Duke, cut off from his family and many of his friends, is heavily reliant on his wife's social circle. Again, that is the behaviour of the narcissist, removing his support networks and making him reliant upon hers. When they first started dating, Harry was Harry's wife's protector, guiding her through a royal life that was alien to her. But now the roles have been reversed, and it is the Duke who appears to be struggling to find his way. That may explain why he's still partially on British time, apparently staying up late into the night gaming. He stays up late into the night gaming because the computer screen doesn't shout at him. The computer screen doesn't ignore him. It is a place of solace for him. Yet with many of his old sets still feeling aggrieved at having essentially been ghosted after he married Harry's wife, again a common consequence of a person being ensnared by a narcissist, patience appears to be waning thin, even among his most stalwart supporters. As one insider explained, nobody really speaks to him anymore, and even the people who have remained by his side have lately begun to fall away because he's so consistently negative. He's often complaining and rarely asks after others. This is demonstrative of the reduction of his emotional empathy as a consequence of her behaviours upon him. Common consequence of involvement with a narcissist. People had stuck with him because they blamed Harry's wife for isolating him and cutting him off from his friends and family, but he hasn't done anything to help himself. Now, they just see him as completely lost. Harry himself referred to the fact that William regards him as deluded, but that sentiment also seems to be shared by those in what he once referred to as his circle of trust. The word narcissistic also creeps into a lot of conversations about the couple. According to one former military colleague, no one in the forces has got any time for him at all, which is such a shame because he was hugely popular. You can blame Harry's wife, but he also brought a lot of it on himself. While fully supportive of Spare, the media-savvy Duchess let it be known she raised gentle concerns about whether it was the right move. As a source said at the time, is this the way she would have approached things? Possibly not. But she'll always back him, and would never have got involved in promoting such a personal project. This was about his own life, his own journey, and his own perspective. But with speculation about plans for her own memoir, the Duchess will want to avoid any more negative publicity diminishing the Archewell brand after the couple's approval ratings have fallen to near Duke of York levels. If her relaunch does not go to plan, however, a blame game is likely to follow, and as someone who once worked for the couple noted, when you're that angry with the world, it leaves little time for romance. There's little time for romance because he's in a sustained devaluation. There's little time for romance because he is repeatedly seen as painted black, but he does have occasional islands of golden period, respite periods, which are granted to him from time to time. They're on separate paths because he's in the sustained devaluation and disengagement beckons. And against that backdrop, we do see different priorities. Him with regards to the question of privacy, her with regard to the issue of celebrity, because he isn't as useful as he once was. The article does, of course, show various facets of the sustained devaluation, and once again, by knowing about narcissism, you understand why these things are happening. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.